Hi, I've had my Nissan Leaf for just over a year now, and I thought it would be useful, helpful, both for myself and for anybody thinking of buying an electric car or a Nissan Leaf in particular, to do a short video just to kind of go over what I've learned, what I would do differently, what I've discovered. So yeah, here we go. It's my Nissan Leaf 1 year on. When I bought my Nissan Leaf, it was about 6 years old and had 54,000 miles on the clock. And although it cost a little bit more than I normally like to pay for a second-hand car, it still was nowhere near the 15,000 plus pounds that you can pay for a second-hand car. Also, I bought it from a main dealer, which always adds a couple of quid onto the price, doesn't it? As this was our first journey into the world of electric cars, we needed a wall charger put in at home. I mean, we could have used it, and it comes with a 3-pin plug that you can plug into the garage, and we could have used that. It was fine, but it's a lot easier and more convenient to have that dedicated wall charger out on the drive there. So when you get home, you just plug it straight in. Now, if you look on the internet, you'll see these going for. They seem to be able to set their own prices. But the dealer put us on to PodPoint, and PodPoint just took care of the whole installation and everything. It was an average price, but if this is your first one and you've got off-road parking, you get a grant from the government which takes care of most. I think it ended up costing us about 250 quid. Which is quite a significant saving. So yeah, always find out about that grant that's available. So what's the car like to live with? Well, in this video I will split it into sections. It'll be charging, range, practicality, cost, and if I'm clever enough and I manage to do it, I will try and split the video up into chapters, so you can just skip to whichever section you like. Not promising, because I'm not that good with YouTube, but I'll try. So let's start with charging. Now this is the big one. This is the thing that most EV owners and people looking to buy EVs worry about. It needn't be that scary. In fact, generally, owning an EV, it's really not as scary as people think. My Leaf, which is, as I say, it's an older one. It's equipped with two charging ports. One is, let's call it a slow one. So it's called a Type 1. And the other one is a thing called a CHAdeMO, which is your fast, rapid charge. The slow one's the one you plug it into when you're at home. And it charges at about 3 kilowatts an hour, so it's not very fast. But if you're leaving it overnight, if you park it up, plug it in, and you're leaving it overnight, it's more than fast enough to have it fully charged easily by the time you need the car in the morning. The other's the CHAdeMO. Now the CHAdeMO is a big socket like that. It's got a big heavy plug that goes with it. You don't have these at home. These are your fast chargers that you get out on motorway service stations and some petrol stations. They're appearing all over the place, and as time goes on, more and more will appear all over the place. It's the rapid charger. It's the one that will go from 20% to 80% in about 20 minutes, I reckon. It's before 20%. Before the battery's at 20%, and after 80% it tends to slow down a bit, but that's to protect the battery from overheating and things like that. You can take it from 0 to 100. It's just that 20 to 80 is the best, the fastest charge you'll get. I've usually run it down to about 20% before charging it up as much as I can, and I'll charge it for about between 20 and 40 minutes, depending upon how much time I've got, or how far I've got to go. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty reliable. It's pretty good. And as I say, they're available in service stations, some pub car parks. Not encouraging you to drink and drive. There's some in some Starbucks car parks. You'll find them popping up in McDonald's. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Now, for the downside of that CHAdeMO charger. Remember the old Betamax and VHS thing that went on? Betamax was kind of better, but VHS is the one that won, and everybody used VHS. Now nobody can get a Betamax video player for love nor money because they just didn't take off. Everyone went with VHS. It's kind of the same here, going on here. What happens is the CHAdeMO charger, the plug that the Nissan Leaf uses for its fast charge, it's brilliant. It's really good, and it's being developed all the time in Japan, and the amount of power it can deliver is just going up and up and up and up and up, so you can get faster and faster and faster charges. However, here in Europe and in America, they've decided to go in a different direction. They've gone down a thing called a CCS charger. Now this it's pretty fast. It is pretty fast. But it's not at all compatible. It's completely different shape and everything from the CHAdeMOs, which means you can't use a CCS on a CHAdeMO. You can't even get an adapter because it was just well, you could, but it's such a complicated thing. It would cost a fortune to produce. Most modern cars nowadays have a CCS adapter in it, a CCS plug in it, sorry, rather than a CHAdeMO. And it means that the CHAdeMO is being phased out slowly over time. Now, most charging points have the two. They have a CCS and they have a CHAdeMO. But because they pull so much electricity, you can only use one at a time. Now, the problem we have is there are many, many, many more CCS chargers out there. They're usually, at a motorway service station, you'll get 3 charging machines. 2 with CCS and CHAdeMO, and 1 with just CCS. In fact, at Cobham services, you've got, like I've just described, 2 with CCS and CHAdeMO, and 1 with CCS. And then over the other side of the car park, you've got about 20 CCS chargers. Now, the issue us Leaf drivers have is we can only use the CHAdeMO plugs. And unfortunately, people drive in, they see the charger, they go and plug their car in, they've tied up that charger until their car is charged. Well, if that car has got a CCS plug, you can't use the CHAdeMO. And a lot of people don't know this. They don't know that you can't use both at the same time. They don't know that there are cars out there that only use the CHAdeMO. And so they're not deliberately ignoring the 20 CCS chargers over that end of the car park. They might not have seen them. But for us Leaf drivers, it means there's nowhere for us to charge. So we have to go off and find somewhere else, which probably has another car on it. It's not the other EV drivers' fault. 9 times out of 10 they don't even know. In fact, a couple of times I've managed to catch somebody just before they plug in, and I've explained it to them, and they've happily gone over and used the CCS charger. But yeah, it's something to bear in mind.
You see, the Nissan Leaf can only use a CHAdeMO. There are very few CHAdeMO chargers, sorry. And you get people that come in that need CCS, and they go to the first one that they can see. Now, over the other side of that car park, there are about 16 CCS chargers that are all free. There's even another CCS charger just there. Again, free. But he's just rolled in to this one, the first charger he saw. And it's the only other one with a CHAdeMO, which means now if somebody with only a CHAdeMO port turns up, they're going to have to wait. They're going to have to wait for either him or me to finish.
Right, range. Range. If people are going to have a go at electric vehicles, it's usually the range and the charging that they have a go at. Like I said at the beginning, electric vehicles are not as scary as people make out. Now, please bear in mind, mine is an old car. It's one of the kind of the first proper mass-produced EVs out there. Nowadays, the situation is completely different. On a good day, mine will show a range of about 130 miles. That is unusual though. Most of the time it's 100 to 120-ish. Of that, like any car, if you're driving up hills, if you're driving fast, if you're really accelerating hard all the time, you know, driving style, it affects it. But also on EVs, the temperature affects it. So the colder it is, the less the batteries like it, and you might lose 10 to 20 miles. Having said that, 6 years old my car is. 6 years old, the battery is still showing 100% health. I've got all my bars, and I don't baby it. I'm not overly careful with it. I just get in the car and drive, you know. And it's still 100%, and it's 6 years old. And to be honest, most manufacturers guarantee their batteries for 8 years anyway. But really, they don't degrade. They're not like mobile phone batteries. I know there's a lot of people out there going, oh, they get worse over time. They probably do, but in the 6-7 years my car's been around, and I've done some journeys in it, it hasn't started degrading yet. So, you know, I'm happy with that. So when it comes to range, what does my car do? Well, it shows between 100 and 130 depending upon what my drive. It's got a thing called a guessometer, which kind of tries to guess how many miles you've got. They're not that accurate. So it shows between 100 and 130 depending upon my driving style the last time I used it, because that's what it does, it's guess on. So I can safely go about 80 miles, which isn't far. It's not far. But, like I said, it's an old car. Modern cars go 400 miles, some of them. So yeah, it's not something that should put you off. And I've taken the kids on holiday in this car, and to be honest, their bladders and their attention span is shorter than the battery range. So we'll be stopping for a charge before the car actually needs it. Practicality. Now, my car, Nissan Leaf, older shape, older model. I'm a drummer. You might be able to tell. I'm a drummer. That's my job. So I take huge drum kits around sometimes. I mean, they take up a lot of space. Nothing takes up space like a drum kit. I can load my entire drum kit into that car, it works. It fits beautifully. It's not a massive car, so you know it doesn't feel awkward. It's not like one of those giant SUVs where you worry about car park spaces or the height of the car park. And we have a car park here in Eastbourne where I'm based, which is very mean on the headroom, and there's a lot of SUVs can't even get in there. So you haven't got any of that to worry about, because it's just a normal sized car. It's just an ordinary family car. We've done tip runs in it. We've got all the dogs and the kids in it. We've all gone off on holiday with our luggage. It's coped absolutely perfectly. So as far as practicality and the fact that it's a good all-round family car, awesome. Cannot fault it. So cost, how much does it cost to run? Well, apart from the original purchase price, which you get with any car, don't you? I would say it costs about, on a mile per mile basis, you know, if I was going to go to London or whatever, it would cost me about a quarter of what it would cost to take our little 1.6 diesel Fiesta up there. And I know fuel prices have got a bit silly at the moment, so. But Yeah, it's about a quarter of the running costs are much cheaper. I know electricity is going up. I know electricity is becoming very expensive. However, it's still nowhere near as expensive as petrol and diesel. And I can go. Yeah, it cost me £2-3 to do 60-70 miles. It's not. It doesn't cost very much at all. Servicing is a lot cheaper because there's a lot less stuff to service. I don't pay for oil. I haven't done anything with the brake pads or anything like that yet because it uses regenerative braking, which means as you lift your foot off, it's putting more energy back into the battery, which obviously has a friction effect on the motors, which slows you down. So you don't use your brakes as much. It really is. It's quite a bit cheaper. It's quite a bit cheaper than any other petrol or diesel car we've owned, and we've owned a few. The only thing is I've had a couple of repairs I've needed to do, but you have repairs on any car, don't you? So yeah, I've had a couple of repairs that needed doing, and because I've only had it a year, we've gone to the main dealer. So yeah, that's been a bit expensive. But as for actual running costs, it's a fraction of what we've been paying on our other vehicles. So my opinion of it, well, I have to say it is an absolutely brilliant car. I absolutely love it. If I have any complaints, it would be the range, but I could fix that by getting a car with a big battery, a more modern car. A newer Leaf goes about twice as far as the one I've got. But what stops me from buying a newer Leaf? It's that CHAdeMO port, isn't it? Everything is going to CCS in this country, and there are far more CCS charging ports than there are CHAdeMO ports, and that's only going to increase. And Nissan, in their infinite wisdom, have decided not to go with CCS on the Nissan Leaf, but instead they've effectively killed the Nissan Leaf off and brought in this new one called, I can't even pronounce what it's called, but it's a big SUV. It's a lovely car. It is a lovely car. It's ever so clever. But it's really expensive. It's massive. And there's less space in the boot. There's less space in the boot than I've got in my Nissan Leaf, which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But there you go. So they've killed off the Nissan Leaf, and that means, because the way my job is nowadays, I have to do 200-300 mile round trips sometimes. So I need that fast charging capability. I need to be able to go and dive into a motorway service station, stick a fast charger on and go. The fact that CHAdeMO is becoming rarer and rarer already, it stops me buying a Nissan Leaf. So yeah, I would buy another electric car, but I'm afraid it probably won't be a Nissan. Mr. Tesla, if you're out there, I'd love one of them. But otherwise, it's an amazing car. It's a great car. It's a great family car. There's loads of space in there. It's mega reliable. It's cheap. It's quiet. It's easy to drive. And if you're only running around town or doing the very odd distance, if you're only doing very occasional distance, and I've taken the kids to Wales, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. But yeah, try them out. Go for some test drives. They're certainly worth considering, and I would buy another. I would buy it again. It's just that my next car has got to have a CCS charger on it. Anyway, I hope that's helped, and let me know what you think. Cheers. Bye.